Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma Friends, we are going to have the day's talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times sadhu sadhu sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katami tayo dhamma pahatabba tisso tanhati ti. Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma Friends, for the last few days we were discussing about this, the topic of craving, the tanha, and we try to understand it as Venerable Sariputta, Maha Sariputta is presented in 3 facets: Kama tanha, Bhava tanha, Vibhava tanha. That's the same tanha. And whenever you separate them, analyze them, there are some practical hints. There may be some good starting point, and you can proceed with vast subject of tanha stage-wise. In that sense, Kama tanha is the most gross form, but very obvious, very conspicuous, and no one can deny. So therefore, as far as the getting rid of tanha is concerned, we are starting with not the subtle point, we are starting with the gross point and try to understand it. And even if you are successful or not, whenever you remove the gross level of craving, and you will not be at the end of the journey, you will find another facet or another shape, or another kind of tanha underneath is called bhava tanha. As far as you are in kama tanha, you will never get a clue even about bhava tanha. So once you have to understand, tanha is the basic source, the proximate cause for suffering, and occasionally some talk about it. So if you wish to get rid of suffering, you have to think about a patipada or procedure or a methodology. Through that you will first deal with kama tanha, that is craving, and we can say renunciating from the household life, or to go to a place where it is not prolific, and that is how kama tanha you do away with. The household life or the social life is utterly proliferating, fertilizing, feeding with kama tanha. So therefore, as far as you are in the society at large, you'll be carried out by the social functions and social laws, and therefore, if you wish, you can create suffering together, but the answer is singular, or suffering as a mass. It's a system suffering, but the answer is reductionist. You have to think yourself, and that is itself is appear like you are outcasted. To think about the getting rid of suffering itself is not a social issue. It is not a very popular issue. The society wish to have the agglomeration, parties, all the kind of thing, and even with tanha, even with suffering, they are happy to be in this socialization. This ghana sanganika ramata, that is the way the Buddha explained, the party going, trip positive, organizing, that kind of thing is utterly suffering, but never mind, we consider it's very social, very forward, and then we very forward and very social to have suffering. But if you ask a pragmatic answer or a pragmatic person, first and foremost, they will say, take care about the kama tanha. That means have little time limited to yourself and think about whenever you are unto yourself, how much little basic needs you need. Whenever you are in the society and whenever you think about the continuity of the society, whenever thinking about the prosperity of the society, development of the society, any amount is not enough. But when you are single, you can understand it is, if you with the healthy mind, very little. So therefore, on an experimental basis, if you can go away from the society, or practically we can say entering into a forest, sit under a tree and go to a solitude place is a kind of a similarity with dealing with kama tanha. But we, for the last week or more, we came out of the house and then we try to see the situation once renounced, maybe temporary, of course, recluse and the venerables, they have done it maybe for a longer time. And once they come, they are still suffering. Even if you manage to temporarily go away from this, your dear and near ones and the familiar places and habitats, when you come here, even you compromise to eat whatever the provided, sleep in whatever the beddings you give, not enough. That means, not enough means that here also, still the suffering is remaining. Of course, the worldly being will say that these people are very high up and they are uplifted because they are renounced. But if you ask each and every individual, yogi, they are utterly suffering. They are waiting till tomorrow to go back home and have a dinner as you like and go for a party and open to the mass media, have little bit of socialization, little bit of chattering, waiting. Because this is appear like a trap. And there we have to understand even the gross tanha is being tackled in physical way. It is called kaya viveka. Physically you are departed from your dear and near ones, but you see how much the mind is carrying. That is what you call obsessional defilements, obsessional level. Even you came here, mind is carrying all the shadows, all the representative parts of your likings and disliking, that we can say bhavatanha. That is because you expect you have your personality view or your falsified idea of me, and therefore you think that what is happening in my mind is me and myself. So now even I am renounced, I have this kind of obsessional kind of defilements. So is it reducing or increasing? At home, the spending of the day is not much of a problem. Time is passed so quickly. But when you're going to sit, 1 hour is sometimes more than 3 hours. And walking, when you are doing, it is elastic like. Time is not passing. One night, long and long. That is because it is more abrasive. It is more touchy. In a sense, it is very lot of friction. So, this situation, the situation you find in the monastic life, situation you find in the forest, situation you find in the monastery, if we try to explain to a person full of sense desire, they will find this lot is mad. And we are very happy with the sense desire. These people are Renounce, but still full of complaints, full of the unsorted questions. And what is this bloody fool meditation world? Why can't they also be like us? Then you will be in utter difficulty to explain unrenounced people the way you suffer. So their set of questions is completely different. Some people say, if I renounce, everything will be out. Some people do not know the renunciated way of life. But if you being in the renounced person, when you try to explain it, and it is rather difficult to explain it, because they never understand once renounced this obsessional kind of defilements never related to household life. Only 5. There is shadows of the kama-tanha appear like these 5 hindrances or obsessional, and that enough to keep you obsessed 24 hours. And if you try to explain that to an unrenounced person, you are in a hell of a fix. Because they can't touch these defilements, they are utterly carried away by sense desire, earning, and their status, everything. But now you once renounced, even the obsessional defilements are obsessing you. It's an aberration that understanding is quite important. You will never appreciate the way the Buddha appreciate of this understanding of 5 hindrances. As far as you consider it as a negative, sour, bitter, hindrances are sour and bitter. But you have to understand this is a representative of kama-tanha. It is a representative, it is not utterly kama-tanha, it's a shadow. So therefore, the day you appreciate kama-chanda, the day you appreciate vyapada, the head, the day you appreciate your sleepiness and slimy nature, the day you appreciate your uddhacha, the day you appreciate vicikicca, then they are not much of a problem. You have to appreciate in a relative term, with compared to the kama-tanha, which is good. Once you done away with kama-tanha, household life only, you are qualified. You are uplifted to understand this for the 5 hindrances. As far as you are negative to it, you eat sour mango. How long will it take? How long will it take someone to understand Kama chanda with compared to the sexual misconduct is better? Sexual misconduct makes so much of ethical problems. But Kama chanda makes your mind obsessed that you have not transgressed it. Because of your precepts, because of your moral restraint. So you are qualified. You are not with the karma or sexual misconduct, you are now with the kama chanda, sense desire. It's not manifested yet. And you have hate, but you are not killing someone. You are not manifesting it. So it is within you. And the sleepiness happen, or past and future happen, or doubt happen, it is within you, so therefore it is something you earn. So therefore when and where each and every nirvana arises, if you can compare it with your primary object, you introduce primary object, with respect to the primary object, sense desire arises. With respect to the primary object, hatred arises. With respect to the primary object, sloth and torpor arises. With respect to the primary object, past and future arises. With respect to the primary object, doubt arises. So now you can clearly see, not only you renounce, but because you have now introduced a primary object. So now you compare kama chanda, sense desire, with sexual misconduct. And the other part is, as far as you are in your primary object, no sexual misconduct, no kama chanda or sense desire. So now we have 3 options. As far as the hatred is concerned, it is utter hate, you will kill others or you will commit suicide. Now it is not there, you have mere boiling hate. And here the primary object. If the mind is with the primary object, no killing others or no killing yourself, and this hateful feeling also easily you can replace into the primary object. So there you are better off. But why it is impossible? Because you hate Vyapada. Vyapada means mental discomfort more than killing others or any other transgressional form of hatred. So you fail to understand it. Once transgressed, you are a criminal. You are at the court. You are in a lawsuit. But now it is hatred is there, but it has not gone up to a case. You have not killed someone. So you replace it with obsessional hate. So the day you understand obsessional hate is better than killing someone and going to the court and court into the police, and that day you understand, you see, immediately you have, yes, I have only the obsessional level, and if you are not happy, I can go to the primary object. Primary object is the complete answer. So you can explain all the 5 hindrances. Now you have done away with transgressional, then only obsessional come into being. That is something you have to see in a positive way. Rather, you have to be glad, now I am not transgressing, it is obsessing. And when that happens, you see, you have to take refuge of your primary object. You have to take refuge of your mindfulness. You have to take refuge of here and now. And it is somewhat available that when you are at home, without mindfulness, without primary object, without knowing about 5 hindrances, you are utterly in transgressional form. Now, there. So the day you understand relative value of your primary object, the relative value of mindfulness, the relative value of here and now, because you can see comparatively, the obsessional kind of divine, they ever come and push you, ever make a demand, ever make a problem. If you are slip one thought moment of mindfulness, you are in obsessional defilement. Each moment if you can keep fighting, noting, be with the mindfulness, somewhat you can do it. And it is somewhat relative, corresponding to your effort. So therefore now you know, it is not sila sikha, it is not moral restraint, this is concentration restraint. And when the day you understand, more you apply your mind again and again and again into the primary object, of course primary object is not delightful. Of course it is not lustful. Because you can't, yes, no natural craving for the primary object. Knowing that you have to apply again and again and again. Then the day you understand, you will develop enormous love to the primary object. Enormous love to the concentration, then another suffering. That is what you call second kind of suffering. In order to get rid of kama tanha, now you take rupa, the material object, as your pivotal value, as your benchmark, as your reference point. And when that going to give kind of a solace, telling as far as mind is with me, primary object, as far as I am in concentration, no transgressional, no obsessional, what a kind of a refuge. So when that object is disappearing, again a problem. Because it is subject to change. So far, till you become a meditator, or till you become a person practice mindfulness, breath is not important. It is the intrinsic part of your living. Who cares? But when you come to the meditation, if the breath is not there, it is a desperate lost. And earn breath and then disappear, again bankruptcy in your company. Now the breath becomes so important, and understand repetitive application and earning the breath. Have an affair with the breath. Take refuge of the breath. Take it as a pivotal point. Take it as a reference point. It's a great effort. But even then, still the danger is there. The breath is not permanent. Therefore, when and where you have faith upon concentration, it has its own weakness, the concentration not lasting ever. If you are practicing samatha meditation, sometimes you can practice for 1.5 hours, but even then it is not permanent. It's disappearing. So the third aspect is, now you have done away with the kama chanda and kama, the sexual misconduct and the sense desire. But now there is a, love affair with the rupa that you have taken, the object, the concentration. And now you have to go to the vipassana and see, go to this rupa, that's object of meditation, primary object so to say, or breath, or rising and falling, or walking, left leg, right leg, to go with an idea. It is also impermanent. It has its own pragmatic value, but it is intrinsic value in the breath. It has the pivotal value. Now even the breath is disappearing, what will happen? Then the bhavaraga, bhavatanha will be replaced by vibhavatanha, and you try to be focused with nothing. No sense pleasure, sense object, no obsessional kind of defilement, no your primary object, and that's also gone. Ultimately everything appear like the arising and passing away of just mere perception. When you are sitting, you hear sound far away. It is not addressing you. You feel here and there movement and stiffness and tension and everything. It is not excruciating, you can manage. There are some thoughts, they are inert thoughts, they are background thoughts, no problem. So that means not that objects available, but the objects available, they are just mere perception, not substantial, not like rupa. And then when it is happening, again the mind is making fussy. When and ever nothing happen, appearing sound appear like aberration, appearing thought appear like an aberration, appearing pain, sensation appear like aberration. And then you feel, when can I have everlasting freedom, everlasting emptiness without reappearing of the object? So you become again obsessive. So you have to practice. They are appearing, the perception, appearing and disappearing according to a completely cause and effect relationship. So when it is appearing, understand it's appearing. When it's disappearing, understand it's disappearing. It is happening due to its own original cause and effect. It is not to inflict suffering. You can't change it. You are just mere distance observer. Just observe. Ultimately you find now you are fighting, of course fighting not with the sense pleasure, not with materiality, now you are only fighting with the sanya, arising and passing away. So it won't make much of a substantial differences. You have to practice again and again. Let the sanya arises. It never make any permanent marking. It disappears. And again you go into a no sanya level. And again sanya arises. And the way you are observing, now have and have not. Me and not me. Explainability and unexplainability, no matter. Because this sanya, they even deserve a name. Unless otherwise you label it. Moment you give a label, again you get certain amount of suffering. Moment you let them happen and go, so to say, whether it is a primary shadow of the primary object, or shadow of a sound, or shadow of a thought, or shadow of a pain, never mind, everything is the same. It's a shadow. Now no difference between the primary object and the other object, or have and have not. So their mind, or we can say the consciousness, learn to give up the duality. To give up the have and have not. To give up the liking and disliking. Because you are talking about shadows now, it is not substantial thing. So, when the Buddha explaining this, passing these all stages, he usually take 4 stages if you wish to reduce it. It says, Kama Guna, Kama Sanya, Rupa, Rupa Sanya. Kama Guna means our household life. Kama Sanya means hindrances, obsessional defilements. And you replace it Rupa, and ultimately Rupa also becomes Rupa Sanya. So everything ultimately Sanya is happening. When that happens, you know everything appearing is nothing but a Sanya, everything disappearing is nothing but Sanya. When you're observing, it's a very appreciable level of concentration, appreciable levels of faith, energy, mindfulness and the wisdom. You can understand this is mere Sanya, arising is Sanya, disappearing is Sanya. So at that moment, when Ananda is paying respect and asked the Buddha, but Bhante, when someone is come up to that level, is it enough for someone to get into the enlightenment? Will he definitely go to the enlightenment? Buddha says no. So when you come up to that level, some take this event, take this situation, advantage situation, can enter into Nibbana or cessation, some still not. The Ananda says, it's amazing, Bhante, it's a very big achievement. And even then, it won't become a proximate cause for the Nibbana. Yes, it is for some people, not others. Then, Venerable Ananda says, Bhante, I am confused, please. Explain me why even after that level, some are not take the Nibbana as the next object. Why? What makes someone to stay at that level? Then the Buddha says, after giving up Kama Loka, and after giving up Kapa Sanya, after giving up Rupa, after giving up Rupa Sanya, some people have some attachment for that kind of achievement. That itself is enough, it will become a safety catch. You will never go to the other side. So even you come up to that level, you have to unassume that. You have to disclaim it. You have to disavow it. It's a matter of cause and effect. Who are you to be happy? That I came up to everything, come to the Sanya and Sanya rising and passing away. Moment you going to claim, that is what I earn. And if it is a jhana, this is my jhana. Not others. I am better. Others are less. So these all kind of duality make you hooked. So that is what happened, Alakarama, Udrakarama Putra. The both of them, as teachers to the Buddha to be, they taught the Buddha to be, Siddhartha the Gautama, the 7th jhana, nothing. And the 8th jhana, perceptions are rising, perceptions are going. Neva sanya, na sanya. And when he come, he found it's a great achievement. Even the teacher appreciated. Even the Siddhartha Gautama came to know. Now he is no more with this fighting world. He is off. He is uplifted. Everything nothing but a perception. It is nothing but mind-made. So why worry? For example, when children get together and they prepare a playhouse. In Sri Lanka, when we were young, Sellange. And today I went to the school and there is a already prepared Sellange out of sticks and covered with the khajans, and we are not making that much of, we are using some raw leaves and make it for few hours. And we play. And we go to the neighbor house and one become mother, one become father, and we use father's shoes and mother's slippers, and we are in the mother's sari and father's this thing, and we become father and mother. So when such a thing happen, the Buddha says they put up a temporary house, just called this is our sellange, our playhouse. And when it is broken, they cry. The young children, once they prepare, just fix sellange, if it is broken, they cry. Because they attach to it. Once the game is finished, they themselves destroy it. At that time, no cry. So our whole life is a sellange. When it is broken, we cry. But it is a children, the sand castle. It is just a sand castle. It's a very nice architect. But when the sun happens, it will dry it off. When the wave happens, it will wash it off. If the rain happens, it will wash it off. So even it's a good architectural thing, is the Kumara Kumarika Valuka Krida. It's a young people play with the sand castle. So our whole this life, the whole this world is nothing but a sand castle. So when it is disappearing, we cry. When it is coming to the proper shape, we become so proud. But ultimately you have to understand, it is just temporary. Likewise, our all ambitions, all our frustrations, all our emotions, they are nothing but a perception. Not that authors are telling, oh Buddha is telling, you yourself understand. And when you use this kind of understanding perception, understanding no perception situation as a clear answer for majority of tanha, you attach to it sometimes. But how to get not too attached? Even at very subtle level. If you can be skillful, understanding and not to attach this arising and passing away of this perception, you may not comprehend. If that let-goism knows, you can let go your most desirable son, father, house and everything, because exactly the same, whether you are let go your perception or your loved one. If you let go your perception, all your gold, or your fame, everything. So the Buddha says, even at that level, perception level, you know that giving up is the answer. Slowly, it will work back way and understand your almost all desirable things. If you can give up, that giving up and giving up of perception exactly the same. Exactly the same. Of course, giving up to start with at the perception level is somewhat practical. Someone say it is nothing but a perception. But will to ultimately calculate can come back, your whole valuable thing is nothing but a perception. For example, according to the Buddhist teaching, we have the past life. And what about the dear and near run of the past life? Now it's just a concept. And you people are, if not enlightened, you are definitely going to be another life, and when you go there, this life is just a concept, just a dream. And you never understand this as a concept or perception as far as you are in the society. But when you are solitude and living a spiritual life, you can understand whether you like it or not. One day you have to give up. When the sickness happened, old age happened, the death happened. Till that, up to the last minute, you hold into. So at the deathbed, you are in vacuum, you are in something lacking, because you have not given up, definitely it will take the next life. according to what is lacking, what is unfulfilled, what is unsatisfactory. So while you are living, at least try to give up perception. That is to say, Nicca Sanya, Anicca Sanya. If you take perception as permanent, pleasurable, auspicious, and me, you are utter, adamant, useless, idiot fellow. That is called ignorance. Whole teaching, whole education, whole social system, whole political system, whole economic system is to fix you. If you are so and so, so therefore hold into that, behave like that. Likewise they crucify you. But instead go to a forest and see who you are. Will the trees understand you as a so and so? Or this river will understand you as so and so? The rock you are sitting upon will say, I am sitting, my person sitting upon mine is such a proud person, so should I give a comfortable, the softness to that back? You ask? No, they don't care. They don't care. So just understand at the concept level, perception level, and ultimately you find even when the materiality is disappearing, or rupa become rupa sanya, or your gross object becomes subtle and subtle, hardly you can discriminate the concept and reality. Whether it is a concept, so you feel a crawling animal. And if you feel like as if someone is going to bite, and the sensation is there, but you open eye and see, no animal. That particular nerve is going to give a rhythmic sensation. There's no animal, but it is enough to break your mindfulness. So, 2 German ladies, it seems, came to Nilambe, and one lady is so obsessed with mosquitoes. Ultimately, inside meditation hall, at a time, a lot of mosquitoes are there. She, somehow decided, I will not go into the meditation hall, I will sit under a tree and try to bear the beginning, the middle and the end of the mosquito bite. And she was meditating, and while meditating, she heard mosquito come and land. And she can feel. And nowadays you may see it is dengue or chikungunya or whatever may be. If it's a just bite, that will give us so much of germs and you will shiver and you will die. And now mosquito came. Now it's on your body. And she was so tensed and she made her mind. And somehow the other, and then she heard piercing like. And she is not sure whether it's really the mosquito's piercing or my mind is making a story. She gave it up and looked at it. It was a butterfly. And she was so happy to hear inside the room it will never happen. Now butterfly is there, she is making a story. Soon, of course, mindfulness gone and she is a butterfly. And she sees how much suffering they created. And she, meditation broken, and she looked at far away, found her companion is chasing behind a butterfly to catch it and take it to Germany. And she wrote article, and she sees so much of hate for that, her friend. Atanguta මොකක්ද කියන්නේ fly catcher. And she is chasing behind a butterfly to catch that particular kind of a butterfly, so she can make a good money in the museums. And you see how much is a concept and how much is a reality. If you have to see, so exactly thing happens. So you are living in your own bubble, your own imagination, your own universe. So you try your best from the morning to evening to communicate with the other person. He is living in his or her universe. her values, her concepts, or his concepts or reality. Will there be any communication? Hardly any. So, while understanding, if a boy look at a girl, or a girl look at a boy, it's a sexual attraction. Definitely it creates so much of defilements, like a conflagration. And a dog find a bitch, so much of sexual contact. When you find a bitch, no sex. And the Mahayana, or how do you call the Zen master, they say, if you now go to the vihara, up there, so much of tadpoles are making enormous sounds. For what? Calling for partner. That's a love song. Can we entertain? Just like Michael Jackson? Or just like any singer? From morning to evening they are calling his or her partner. It's a love song. But for us, it's a distraction. We can't meditate because the tadpoles are shouting. And mosquitoes are coming out. Maybe calling for a partner. But for you, it is dengue, it's chikungunya, it's malaria. To understand how from your perspective you are looking at, so therefore what I am telling is that if you work back the perception, concept and reality and realistic world, everywhere what you think, what you see, that you are. Wherever you go, there you are. So once you understand the function of tanha, it says, yayang tanna pono bhavika nandi raga sahagata. It is perpetuating, continuing, hooking each other, and individual particles you make like a chain. You make a story. You make a fabrication. They are particles. After making a fabrication, you are up to lie anything to prove it is a chain. It's a train. It is not particles. Because the chain or the train is your fabrication. You have to prove it to the other person, so much so, till you understand it is nothing but individual particles. This is what we are arguing on the earth. We make a shape or chain or train out of this particle, and we prove other person, look, one is connected to each other. The other person is connected not according to way, this is connected my way, and then argument. But his way or presented with both wrong, they are particles. So when you work back, you understand how this Nandi Raga started. Whenever the Nandi Raga come into being, that's the root cause of suffering, root cause of tanha. And it is not already ready-made one. It is happening then and there. So, when you go back to tanha, it's very poisonous. It's a very profound, very difficult to see through. But once you understand the mechanism, then you can understand the Buddha is asking where that kind of Sakopanisa tanna katta uppajjamana uppajje, katta nivisamana nivisati. Oh monk, that you know now, that tanna is the root cause, where it arises, where it ceases to exist. Then Buddha says, ye loke satarupam piya rupam ette satanna uppajjamana uppajjati nivisamana nivisati. Whenever the desire arises, whenever the delight arises, whenever the lust arises, that is the tanha. So it is no already prepared tanha. You can say the figure of a lover is not lustful if you are a partner. So you are the person attribute the lustfulness for the beach, is a lustful object for the dog, but not for you. You can't attribute that kind of qualities to the beach. Whatever you try. So, wherever the lust arises, where the delight arises, that is the point you have to understand. If you know then and there, this is the way lust is arises, it is no more a lust. Because you know now. Whenever the delight arises, if you know, we will give an array of objects, and you know, this is the lustful object, this is the delightful object, as far as you know, and you know because it became lustful and delightful because of my values, because of my attribution, because of my perception, then it is no more a trap. When the Buddha is explaining it, all the moralists lose their ground. As far as you know, as the lust arises, as the delight arises, if you know this object is delightful, this is lustful, this craving, that very understanding make you free of suffering. But difficult to explain, understanding lust, you think lustful. No. Understanding lust is wisdom. Understanding the delight is a wisdom. Underlies the craving, then and there is a wisdom, and it is vigilance, it is diligence, it is mindfulness. And when it happens, that lustful object is no more lustful. As if you are going to a area where I have a contagious diseases, and area is marked. But if you take a vaccine and go there, as far as you have antibodies, it will not inflict you. People will say, don't go there, it is so full of diseases and marked area. You will say, yes, it is full of marked area, it's a dangerous, but I have my own vaccine. No problem. If you are not with the vaccine, don't play, that's sure. That vaccine is when and where delight arises, if you know, as if when the in-breath arises, you know this is the beginning of the in-breath. As and when the breath is disappearing, you know this is the end of the breath. It is exactly like arising kincha roke piyarupan satarupan. Chakkuncha rope piyarupan satarupan. Your eye is the place, it is arising. It is not with the object you look at it. So likewise, when and where delight or lust or craving, as and when it arises, if you know, how do you gain that? Skill is, as and when the breath arises, you note it. As and when the left leg and the right leg arise, you note it. As and when the rising and falling arises, you know it. And as and when it is disappearing, you note it. It is material. But ultimately it will come to the piyarupan satarupan, the desirable, lustful thing. As and when arises, if you know, no more it is a poison. No more it can carry you for a trip. No more you will make stories. No more you will make fabrication as far as you know it. But you have to go through the materiality and see the rising and passing of the materiality exactly with rising and passing of mentality. To start, to have a demonstration, Buddha give materiality or matter, or in-breath and out-breath, or rising and falling. Ultimately he apply the same, the deductive knowledge. If this is the way materiality arising and passing away, and you learn Montessori class at there, and then apply to the desire, apply to the hate, apply to the sleepiness, apply to the past and future, regret and the excitement, apply to the doubt. They also exactly like materiality. So when you are learning materiality, when you are skillful become materiality, why you should be with the materiality, only faith can justify you. If you do not have faith, how can you develop the skillfulness with the in-breath and out-breath? You have so much of work, you have children, you have that duty and this duty. Where's the time you have for in-breath and out-breath? The Buddha is not telling that in-breath and out-breath is tanna, or in-breath and out-breath is as a nibbana. No. The starting point. And when you are starting the wave, this is the way, the beginning, the middle and the end. Ultimately nothing but you will end up with the mentality, feelings, perceptions, volitional, and everything is arising and passing exactly the same. And when you understand, moment you understand, tanna is no more tanna. Without understanding, through ignorance or idiotness or foolishness only, tanna become tanna. So therefore understand tanna. It is not to get rid of tanna. By understanding you are already gotten rid. So Buddha says that if your hand is not any wounds, you can put into a poison. It will never contact. If there is a wound, then poison will get the contact type poisoning. So therefore, paninami vaninasa visang na anvagameti. So the person who knows his hand is no much of a wounds, exposure, no fear to put into the poison. So likewise one day you understand, as and when the desire arises, as and when the delight arises, if you know this is the desire, this is the delightful idea, and this is the lust, and that very understanding is the Buddha. That very understanding is the Dhamma. You think that someone can do it for you? Do you think the lust and delight is in the object that you are observing? So you are the one projecting. It is a mere concept. It is mere perception. So when and where you understand how the perception is working, and once you understood, can it pass it to your son, beloved daughter, or father, mother? Nonsense. No. When you do tightrope walking, can you go hand with hand and hand with hand with another your companion? No. Tightrope is one person. There it is happening in here, now I am basis. So here now I am basis appear like something monastic. It appears like something religious. It appears like something philosophical. So you have to take it. No one can tell that you must be here now I am, you must go to the forest, or you must take this. No. Once you go there, you let the materiality come and go and understand its pattern, not on once, 1001 time. And then naturally, don't ask how to, when to go for vipassana, it is happening. Ultimately, it is naturally applicable, so in the holographic way. If you understand one grain, the whole picture also same. If you understand one materiality, or one peck, or one pixel, or one matter, or one particle, exactly the same everywhere in the world. Sankhara, which has a natural characteristic, a rising nature, disappearing nature, and transitional nature. Whether you start as a materiality or mentality, no problem. But in make the situation sequential, the Buddha says, according to my experiment, I found materiality is easier. Start with the Kaya-Anupassana is easier. So when and where happen, exactly the place where tanna arises, that is the exactly place it is disappearing. No time gap, akalika. No space differences. When and where delight arises, when and where lust arises, when and where craving arises, that is the arising of tanna. When and where you see the lust is just an attribution that you have done, so it is a concept. And if whenever you done away with lust, that not the object disappearing, but the tanna disappears. So nibbana, or emancipation, you do in momentary basis at the beginning. When and where you understand where your mind get attached, delightful, lustful, you must understand there is a starting point, hotbed for the tanha. So you can understand what you are promoting your children now. You're always promoting your children to be delightful, to be craving what your cravings, your family tradition and your creed and everything. So what ultimately they end up with. Just see what the Buddha did for the Prince Rahula. He came and dragged from the robe and says, please give me my due, the property. He says, okay, I will give him, come. And he took it to the monastery, asked Venerable Sariputta to ordain. At the age 7, it's a crime, it's a criminal. If you are the present day, you will go against the human rights. If the Yasodhara is to go and file a case. How can the father decide about this young child to go there? And he is the king to be appointed. And King Suddhodana was desperate. When can you people going to give 7-year-old son to ordination? Can think about? And even if someone wish to go there, how many ways you try to discourage? When they at the age of 26, when I deciding, the professor in the Peradini University, Pali professor, came and took it to the side and told, I heard that you have decided to go there. Then I told, don't say like that, it may be good or bad, successful or unsuccessful, but such idea crossed my mind. Be careful, take care. Now you are at the prime age of your life. Have you married? No. That is what I am telling. Just marry and see what is that, how wrong you are. Have you gone abroad? No. That is what I am telling. And I heard how much people she would have misleading in the university. I am a casual meeting. And she is talking utterly in a motherly love, compassion. And I went to the person introduced, told that these are the people teaching in the universities, and they are the people giving prosperous ideas and, role models for the undergraduates. And I am not a disciple. We met in the meditation hall. She was so upset. I am immature to become a monk. I am unlearned to become monk because I am not married, I am not gone abroad. Nibbana is, the going abroad and marriage is more than Nibbana. For you buggers I am telling. You people always value going abroad and marriage is more than Nibbana. No one, there is no, Satan, no Satan, no Yakha, or Mara. Your own value system. Your own value system. Touch and see your heart. How much you value the marriage life and the going abroad together with Nibbana. So Venerable Jnananda says, early Arya Pariyesana for Nibbana. Now Arya Pariyesana is to learn English, go abroad and have a good nice girl. They are doing Bodhi Puja. Nowadays you go to any temple, now. Going around like circling the Bodhi. Bodhi means what? Four Noble Truths. And they are going, me, I have a beautiful girl. I will come 21 days consecutively and treat the Bodhi tree. And if I can get the visa, I can do 42 days. If the Buddha is accidentally, if it is sit under the tree, and when you are circling right round with this worldly kind of thing, he will renounce again the life, I think, Buddha. Again he will renounce. So definitely I know these stories, what I am telling is not healthy among the Buddhism. It's wrong. But we have to tell. Because we are dealing with Kama Tanna, Bhava Tanna, Vibhava Tanna. Don't cheat yourself. Wherever delight arises, Tanna arises. Wherever Tanna arises, suffering arises. Wherever the lust arises, Tanna arises. Wherever the Tanna arises, suffering. Wherever the craving arises, Tanna arises. Where the Tanna arises, suffering. So no one is earning for you. Don't think the world is bad, world is no much of moral shame and the moral fear. And that is why I am having so much of suffering. No, the Buddha says utterly internal. Utterly internal. So when and where you understand, this is the way the lust arises, this is the way the desire arises, this is the way delight arises, you must be utterly happy. So this is the only way, nivisamana nivisati, this is the way it is disappearing. If you do not see, don't expect another power or another, any kind of magic can reduce it. So, katta, yakopanesa sanya, katta uppajjamana uppajjati, nivisamana nivisati, exactly the same point it arises, exactly the same point where you can find the cessation. Out of that, your mind will happy to see the arising part, because we have been trained. But by seeing the arising, exactly the place you can see the cessation, but there may be some rare occasions, some can pick it from disappearing itself without going to the arising part. Quick with people. They can understand this is the point, Tanna is disappearing. Our one is very camouflage and we are obsessed with this Tanna. Therefore first we have to understand the arising part of the Tanna and then we have to follow. That is the exactly point where the arising part of suffering is the exact point where the emancipation happens. So without loving, without studying, without familiarizing arising part, difficult to think about cessation. So if you are going to complain when the Tanna arises, when the desire arises, when the lust arises, you are avoiding Nibbana. And it is difficult because our culture, because our upbringing, because our values, because our likings and disliking, because of our ambition, because of our habits. So that radical reflection means the Tanna is not arising due to imitation. When and where arising, understand this is just like the breath. This is the arising part. This is the Tanna. The lust. This is the desire. And this is the delight. You take delight of. Imagine one day you manage. So some or the other manage as and when the delight arises, you can just not, maybe split second later. Or lust arises and you manage one immediately or later. And then the craving arises. And now if you wish to teach it someone, what a task. Because they are utterly from the morning to evening chasing behind the lust, chasing behind the delight, chasing behind the craving. And if you say, hey, come, just wait, I will teach you how to look into this, how to get rid of this lust and the delight and kind of thing, they will see you are mad. Because the whole world is running and gushing towards this delight. So that's why soon after the Buddha realized, he had the second thought, am I to teach this to someone? Will there be anyone can understand it? He decided not to. But till that moment, while he was perfecting the paramis, he was Buddhoham bodhisami, muttoham moche pare, tinnoham tarisami, sansaroga mahabbaya. That was his motto. I will get enlightened and I enlighten others. I will cross over to the other side and let others to cross over. I will be healed and others. Now once he healed, he says, no teaching. Because no one is ready. No one is happy to understand, to realize the arising of delight, arising of craving, arising of lust. They consider it utterly private and consider not possible. And they will say that not in this dispensation, when the Mettaya, the Buddha come, the situation with lust will be little in the second quality or adulterated, then I can break lust. Now it is very thick, it is original. So you wait for the next moment, that is what you call negligence. So if you listen to a talk, Dhamma talk, how much percentage teaching you to neglect and forget and postpone it? How much percentage going to tell here and now? In this very life at least, that's also somewhat diluted form. So therefore, that is because the tanha, rising place and the cessation at exactly the same place, same time. So you have to be on the ball. Understand as and when delight arises. Understand as and when lust arises. Understand when and where the craving arises, and don't feel ashamed. Then you are missing the bus. So when and where, it is 1,001 times for one day. The moment you try to take delight of this understanding delight, it's also a kind of a delight. Whenever the delight arises, you understand, don't regret, but you become glad. I know. Now, this is the point where the delight arises. And whenever the lust arises, and you know, you are glad. Whenever the craving arises, you are glad, because without understanding, you can't tackle it. And once understood, tanha is no more tanha. Raga is no more raga. Nandi is no more nandi, because it is under the light of wisdom. That is the way the radical, and don't believe any external source can help you. You need any other tools for this game. Everything you have is enough. That is appropriate technology. You have to use exactly the same, the necessary thing as and when it arises. So you do 1,001 trial and error. Chasing behind, one day you may see as and when the delight arises, as and when the lust arises, and if you do not be happy, be delightful, be glad, you will never see Dhamma. You will be postponing. So as and when arises, your mindfulness must be, diligence must be, vigilance must be. Just like as the breath arises, see the rising of delight. See the rise of lust. And that is the root cause for the hate also. And when it is happening, you see it is slowly only you gather the momentum to see as and when it arises. So when it is happening, it's a huge amount of charging of your battery and catalytic effect. It's energizing you, difficult to explain. As and when you arise and you understand, because you are not understanding your lust. You are not understanding your delight. You are not understanding your mind. You understand the human mind. You understand the universal lust. You understand the universal delight, universal craving. So your effort is individual. But when you understand it, it is applicable to the whole system. So therefore, after you understand, it is difficult to teach, but your deeds are more louder than your words. When you are progressing, not your words important. What you do, how to tackle, how to behave when such an encounter happens. So even a non-Buddhist can understand. Even a child can understand whether you are improving. It is not the amount of book you by heart. It is not the amount of hours you sit. It is not the amount of this jnana and that jnana do. But how do you relate with your day-to-day affairs? And that will slowly. And when you come up to that level, again it becomes ethical. It is social event, because people decide you are not much chasing behind the craving and kind of thing. You use utility value, but never for luxury. And you believe others also must have basic basic needs. Not only you must protect and pack and think about your progeny, but everyone is the same. So when that happens again, even though we are not specifically teaching on metta bhavana, karuna bhavana, that is what you call practical metta. That's what you call practical karuna. So when and where you become mindful, you are becoming qualified and to do physical metta, physical karuna rather than verbal and mental. It's very powerful. Mental, verbal and physical. Physical is more powerful. Therefore, whether you do a personal thing, whether you do here and now, it is definitely we are connected with the world at large. So therefore, don't consider this as a personal business. Consider as a private or selfish. It's never selfish. It's ultimately leading to the whole human mind. So hope each and every one, you being a soldier, one-man army, one day you can win and give the problem, give the answer to the whole universal problem. This is the way we are concerned our internal sasana as well as external sasana. Internal dispensation as well as external dispensation. So with that hope, I would like to sum up the days today. This will be the end of the series also. Thank you very much for your listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.